But the old ones are fancy.
Have something that.
We are good. Yeah, let me make you a host there, you got many people.
Sorry. Because afternoon too, Nick.
Everything is good.
Morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. We're beginning the Health-Related Institutions Formula Advisory Committee meeting. With me. We're so happy to have Commissioner Rosser here today. So he is going to start us out with some comments.
And I'll be brief. You have a lot of work to do. And so mostly what I wanted to come in and do is just say hi and say thanks for the work that you'll do. You already know this is important. You already know it's required by law. We do this once every biennium. So you've seen the charges. Mostly what I want to do is thank you for putting the time in. Everyone's already busy. You have full-time jobs and you do this on top of that. So on behalf of the agency and the state, thank you for serving in this additional capacity and also bringing the knowledge from your work on campuses every day to this really important process. I think to the extent that we're informed by the reality of what happens with Real Texas institutions that employ Real Texas people to educate Real Texans. That kind of reality is really important, and to the extent that we can build the current state of what it means to do this work on the scope and scale of the state of Texas into the process is really important and meaningful. Speaking of that, the thing that, if you've looked at the charges, they're really straightforward. The thing that I'm especially excited about and also hopeful about, and the thoughts that you bring to this are the second charge around the behavioral health, allied health, and nursing. Just reflection, we've had a nursing shortage reduction grant program for a couple of decades, and we still have huge shortages in nursing. I'm in this role now. I finished my 8th month. I come from a very rural region of the state, where I've spent the last 8 years working, including on health-related matters, where we had shortages of everything, including had entire counties without EMS, entire counties without primary care providers, mothers driving 75 to 90 miles to deliver babies in a labor and delivery center. So when you think about, again, the scope and scale of what we have in front of us, what role do the institutions play, and importantly, what role does funding play in helping us get at the root of some of these really big challenges? Texas is only going to become a more populous state. And although it's urbanizing, we still have, again, I'll go back to my roots, we still have more rural Texans than many states have total population. We have more rural K-12 students than some states have total population. So we are pretty urban centric in terms of our population growth. We still have a lot of people spread out in places that are sparsely served. So what role do the HRIs play there generally, and what role does funding play to help your institution serve the people of the state of Texas? Not only provide direct service, but also think about solutions for the future. When we think about some of these big challenges that have been with us for a couple of decades, what role do you and your institutions play in not only serving people today, but also thinking and planning for how we serve people in the future? So those are the things that are on my mind as I kind of come into my 9th month on this job, thinking comprehensively from sub-baccalaureate credentials all the way up to research doctorates, and what does it mean really to achieve our educational goals? We need everyone from the sub-baccalaureate institutions or the sub-baccalaureate credentials all the way up to the research doctorates and the professional degrees to ensure that we not only are able to serve in the places now, but also think about this economy that's only going to continue to grow, only become kind of a more complex economy and a more complex educational landscape. So to the extent that, again, we bring real experiences and real perspective to all those questions, I think we'll be in a better place. You certainly have your own individual roles tied back to individual campus system responsibilities, but you're also here representing the field. And so to the extent that you can kind of set aside one and focus on the more global picture, and what's best for the state, how do we Texans, and how do we serve the communities and our employers, and then think, okay, so what then is how do we resource the institutions best to serve those two really important audiences? And I think that's a defensive position that we can take, as we move into the 90th session. So I am, again, appreciative, thankful, grateful for the time that you devote to this. We get paid to think about this and work on it all day long. It's an add-on for y'all, but it's a better process because of the role that you play. So I'll be around to the extent that y'all need me. I'll on the other side of the building, call me today or anytime. Certainly, I'll be visiting regions starting actually next week. And to the extent that I can, I'm going to try to visit HRIs as well as the GAIs and community colleges and technical and state colleges. But I'll look forward to more on those trips. But otherwise, I'll stay out of your way and let you do your really important work. So, Andy, anything else that would be helpful for me to?
I don't think so.
All right.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
We do appreciate Dr. Roser's comments and direction. And with that, good morning to everyone. I'd like to call the Health Related Institutions Formula Funding Advisory Committee meeting to order. I welcome the committee members and I thank those that are here in person as well as those online. I'm Michael Tremonti from the UT Health Science Center at Houston, UT Health, and I am convening the meeting as the former committee chair. Please be advised that the meeting is being broadcast over the internet and recorded, so I would ask all attendees to silence your cell phones. I obviously was slow to do that myself, but I'm now on board. Also, since you have some participants meeting via Zoom, please mute your connections until you're ready to speak to prevent background noise. So let's go ahead and kick this off. If we can begin with asking folks to introduce themselves. Ms. Berger, will call your name.
Great. We'll start with Ms. Gomez-Leon. Present. All right. And Mr. Guajardo.
Person.
Ms. Harkey.
Present.
Thank you. Dr. Lang.
Present.
Thank you. Mr. Lewis.
Present.
Thank you. Ms. Maureen Hill. Present. Dr. McCullers.
Present.
Thank you. Dr. Maury. Mr. Miller, Richard Wilson's attending on his behalf.
Yes. Present.
Thank you. Ms. Nace. Present. Ms. Shear. Present. Ms. Smith. Present. Mr. Tremonti is here, and Ms. Withers.
Present. Can you hear me?
Barely. Yes, thank you. All right, we have a quorum.
Okay, a quorum is present. You may all be aware that the University of Houston College of Medicine will be represented by Dr. Jonathan McCullers. The THECB will consider his nomination to the Formula Funding Advisory Committee at their October meeting. I make a motion that until that time, Dr. McCullers would participate as a non-voting member. Will all in favor please say aye?
Aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Okay, the motion passes. Thank you very much. At this point in time, it's time for me to pass the torch. I'd like to open the floor for nominations of the committee chair role. If you would like to nominate someone, please state your name for the record and your nomination.
I, Tomas Guajardo from MD Anderson, would like to nominate our past vice chair, Kristen Nays from Texas A&M Health Science Center for the chair of the committee.
Okay. Kristen, do you consent to the nomination?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Kristen Nace has been nominated for the position of chairs. Are there any other nominees? Okay, seeing none, may I have a second for the nomination of Kristen Nace for the committee chair?
Second.
Okay, we have a second from Jenny. All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion passes. Thank you very much, Kristen, for stepping into this very important role. And at this, the reins are yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tremonti, and thank you, Ms. Berger. Our next order of business is to the selection of a vice chair. If you would like to nominate someone, please state your name for the record and your nomination.
This is Penny Harkey, and I would like to nominate Tomas Guajardo for the position.
Tomas Guajardo, do you consent to the nomination?
Yes.
Tomas has been nominated for the position of vice chair. Are there any other nominees? Seeing none, may I have a second for the nomination of Tomas for vice chair? Second.
Second.
Oh, I had it. I'd like to acknowledge Ms. Marion Hill as the second motion for the nomination. Will all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Guajardo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we will select a secretary. If you'd like to nominate someone, please state your name for the record and your nomination.
I'm Michael Tremonti with UT Health in Houston, and I'd like to nominate Kemp Lewis from the North Texas Health Science Center.
Kemp Lewis has been nominated for the position of secretary. I'm sorry. Mr. Lewis, do you consent to the nomination?
Yes.
Nominated for the position of secretary. Are there any other nominees? Seeing none, may I have a second for the nomination of Mr. Lewis for secretary?
I'll second that.
Will all I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Guajardo. Will all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Thank you. Item number 5 of the agenda is a briefing on the health-related institutions funding formulas presented by Ms. Melita Berger, Senior Director of Funding and Resource Planning. Mrs. Berger?
Okay. All right, I'm going to provide an overview of the HRI formula funding. To begin, just a slide that kind of discusses the distinctions between GAI and HRI. They're defined by statute or the General Appropriations Act. An HRI can be a standalone institution or a distinct part of a GAI. These classifications are used for state reporting and funding purposes. Don't affect other non-state reporting by the institution. Out of the 4 HRIs, 6 are part of a general academic institution. On formula funding, this is an allocation methodology to distribute state funding among institutions. It can be a tool to drive state funding based on the amounts needed to fund enrollment growth at a consistent level. This is often called funding the rate. Formula funding is primarily based on full-time students, student equivalents, predicted square feet, research expenditures, and the number of GME residents. The appropriations reflect how the state funds are allocated, but not how they must be spent. Many formulas use a base period to set funding for the next biennium. For example, for the instruction and operations formula, enrollments in summer of 26, fall of 26, and spring of 27 determine the appropriations for
That is doing good.
28. Generally speaking, the legislature would use whatever is the most recently available data for each of the drivers related to the formulas. On the INO formula, this provides funding for faculty salaries, operating expenses, academic support, instructional administration, and libraries. The driver is the weighted full-time student equivalent. These are based on courses or headcount as of the 12th class day. Medical, dental, and podiatry students are funded through headcount, while all other programs use FTSE. The weighting is based on the discipline and includes different weights for medical, podiatry, dental, public health, pharmacy, nursing, biomedical informatics, biomedical science, and allied health. Additionally, there's a small class supplement that can be provided for programs with fewer than 200 students at remote locations and the main campus of UT Tyler to account for diseconomies of scale. There are three other main HRI formulas: the infrastructure, research, and GME. Again, the infrastructure formula provides for physical plant support and utilities, and it's based on predicted square feet. That formula is based on it's done through the space projection model that's done by the coordinating board, and it estimates the amount of space an institution needs by taking into account its semester credit hours taught, faculty and staff size, research expenditures, and other metrics. The PSF is intended to be an equitable assessment of space need. The research enhancement formula is intended to foster increased research capacity across institutions, and all receive a base amount and then a percentage of their most recent research expenditures. The graduate medical education formula is designed to provide funding for residents and to support faculty costs related to training those residents. It's based simply on the number of residents as of September 1 in the fall of the year prior to the legislative session. Podiatric residents were included for the first time in the 24-25 biennium. Here is a slide on mission-specific formula funding. These are formulas that provide research funding based on either clinical work or the research expenditures of the institution. The legislature added two new mission-specific formulas for services at the UT Austin Dell Medical School and the Sam Houston State University College of Osteopathic Medicine in the last session. The Texas Tech formula under performance-based also was revised to mirror the other performance-based formulas, so it's total research expenditures minus state appropriations. This chart shows you general revenue excluding the mission specifics. You can see for 26-27 there was an increase of 159 million. This chart has the INO rate and the infrastructure rate. You can see they've remained relatively flat despite increases in funding over the last 10 years. The role of the formula advisory committees and the coordinating board. As you're aware, the coordinating board is required to provide recommendations on higher ed formulas to the LBB and governor each summer prior to the legislative session. Your committee works through the fall and sends the recommendation to the commissioner, and then they ultimately move forward to our board for committee consideration. After commissioner consideration. So the way these recommendations are used are really as signals from the institutions to the board on what state policymakers should consider in setting higher ed financing policy. And then finally, our Educational Data Center, or EDC, works with the institutions on reporting student and course data to us so that we can provide that information to the LBB and governor in the fall before legislative session and in the spring during the session for their use in the appropriations process. On a practical level, the data provided in alignment with the recommendations made to the legislature by our board, but we also provide other options as requested by legislative offices. And here we have the charges that you've already seen. The first one is the standard charge about the base formulas, and the second one is related to considering weights, additional weights for the graduate nursing, graduate allied health, and graduate behavioral health. And I'm happy to address any questions. Okay, if there are none.
Melita, will you make those slides available to the committee members?
Yes, we'd be happy to. We'll send those out.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, Ms. Berger. At this time, we will begin our discussion of the commissioner's charges for the committee. Charge 1 is to study and make recommendations for the appropriate funding levels for the instruction and operation, I&O, the infrastructure, research enhancement, graduate medical education, and mission-specific formulas per Texas Education Code, Section 61.05B, and General Appropriations Act, House Bill 188, Texas Legislature, special provisions relating only to state agencies of higher education, Section 27.8, page Article 3, 281. To aid in the committee's recommendation of appropriate levels of funding, staff has provided information of the health-related institutions, including several comparative tables. These can be found on pages 5 through 8 of the agenda materials. At this time, we open up for additional discussion, comments, or questions. Any other ideas anyone would like to bring forward? So I might start the conversation off just by recommending or perhaps entertaining the possibility of taking charge 1 to a subcommittee level so that we can further dive in to these particular formulas and maybe answer some questions and ensure that we all come well equipped. How does that sound to the committee?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Matter of fact, I'd volunteer to participate,
Awesome. Thank you.
so don't be shy. Anybody else?
I can volunteer too. I'd be happy to.
Michael, this is Rick Lang in El Paso. I'd be happy to participate as well.
Thank you. It's so
Mr. Mueller would like to.
awesome. Thank you. It is so wonderful to have so many volunteers.
You can add me to that list too.
Will do.
So many people I'm putting in there, but
I know,
whatever,
it's okay.
however we need it.
Is this a subcommittee for the entire item or individual?
You know, you bring up a very good point. It might start off as a subcommittee for the first charge, and then if it seems like a better working possibility is to have maybe smaller subcommittees look individually at these formulas, then I certainly welcome that. Yeah.
And I would encourage that, the subcommittees, as you're looking at the charges, maybe have a meeting before our next meeting. And then maybe the following meeting, we can report back progress to see how much, our discussion, depending where we are, maybe we continue that discussion for the following meeting, or we may have some sort of a recommendation.
That's a great idea. And we'll talk momentarily about when our potential next meeting of this committee will be. Any further discussion on charge 1 at this time? Okay. Thank you. Charge 2 is to study and make recommendations for the appropriate formula weights, including consideration of any new specialty programs for inclusion, such as graduate behavioral health, graduate allied health, and graduate nursing. Page 6 of your agenda materials provides a descriptive chart on formula weights. At this time, I open up the meeting for any additional remarks or comments, questions. Again, I will reiterate my belief on a subcommittee, and I believe charge 2 is also a good opportunity to have some committees. either one or potentially one for each of the items, being brought forward. Thoughts on that?
Happy to participate on that work group as well too. Same from UT Tyler.
Okay,
I would like to participate in that one.
thank you.
And I think it was done by the committee last time, so maybe that could be the starting point to have those discussions.
I'm sure you want to help participate in that one too, Lauren, right?
Thank you.
I do have a clarifying question. Behavioral health is not a separate line, we don't, allied health and nursing is already a separate program. What are we thinking as far as behavioral health? Because is that something that's within, currently being funded within allied health? Or what are the thoughts there?
I guess I'll jump in right quick. We began our inaugural class at our new behavioral health school this go round. And so initially, I think this was brought forward to try to address that. And much like what we did with podiatry a number of years back, I think the recommendation is was for us to come back and provide some detail and support for the committee, whether it's to the subcommittee or to the committee as a whole, on what the formula might look like for a behavioral health school. Knowing that there may be some programs at individual institutions that we can lean on as well as to how they operate and how they're currently funded, because I'm sure it's very similar to our School of Biomedical Informatics from a number of years back that we went through that exercise as well. So happy to, certainly would like to participate in that, and we can move forward with however Ms. Nace you prefer.
On that note, is there any interest in looking, as we look at specifically like nursing, specialty programs or advanced practitioner type of certificate funding, either those groupings or as a special option, and talking about, as we're trying to address the commissioner's notion of being thoughtful in rural areas and trying to get some ideas out there, midwifery type of programs that would come up that could help in some of those areas. But neonatal would also be another area that I think we would be interested in looking at, just providing those so that we can continue to close the loop on the specialty need of nurses, not just the undergrad and master's level programs.
Any
Couple of comments. I had volunteered to serve on subcommittee too, but maybe I will. They're, picking up on a couple of comments from Jenny and Mike. The specialty need beyond nursing. Maybe there's a conversation to be had. Also with an eye in other areas serving rural needs. But as we all support specialty and subspecialty programs in different disciplines, maybe a larger conversation on that. So cohesiveness. And then a question, Mike, on the behavioral health school, will there be programs that don't already exist at other health related institutions within other schools? I know it's a new school. Are there also new programs?
Yeah, I think there are a number of new programs. There's at this point, there's 5 programs that have been approved moving forward. And I think that there are some areas that aren't currently covered by existing schools. One certainly focusing on forensic medicine from a psychiatry standpoint or psychology standpoint. I think there's very much a research track. There's a number of different steps. There are both master's programs as well as doctorate programs. Now, can I say unequivocally there isn't some addition or some overlap with some programs that are out there? I can't say that. all we do know for a fact is that the workforce in the behavioral sciences side is, you know, is very much like the commissioner had mentioned, is even shorter than nursing and everything else. Mental health continues to be a real challenge from a staffing standpoint.
Appreciate that.
Sure.
Any other discussion on charge 2? Okay. I look forward to our future work in subcommittees in regards to charge 1 and 2. That's very exciting. It's very exciting that so many people volunteered. Okay, with that, we'll move to agenda item 7, which is the discussion of dates and assignments for subsequent meetings. In the appendix of the agenda materials, you'll find a tentative schedule of possible future meetings. Possible dates are slated for the following mornings at 10 a.m. October 1st, November 5th, and December the 3rd. Additional dates can be added. The committee will hold these meetings in person with a virtual option. Is there any discussion regarding the meeting dates and time? Okay, hearing none. Does anyone wish to request any additional materials from THECB at this time? Okay, we'll move to agenda item number 8, which is adjournment. If there are no further questions or points of discussions, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Happy to make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Caperto.
And a second.
Thank you, Mr. Tremonte. Well, all in favor, please say aye.
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 This Formula Advisory Committee is adjourned until October the 1st at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Oh.